Verse, Chorus, Bridge podcast. My guest this week is a multi-talented man. He's a wicked guitarist. He makes parody music videos, which are hilarious. He has his own podcast that he does with someone else, and he runs his own guitar school. So, busy guy, multi-talented. This is the first episode of the podcast where we've written a song on the day completely with no material, and I think it went really well. So I hope you stick around for the song as well. So let's get to it. Please welcome Fa.
Stop it. And when Mike and I started ours, we practiced for like a year before we put anything out.
Really?
Yeah, like that wasn't the plan, but we were like, all right, let's try an episode. Let's just go for it. And I was listening when we were like, okay, that was a bit shit, so let's try another one next week. And we got to the point a couple months in, we were like, you know what? I think that episode was good. I reckon we can put that out. And I was like, right, I'll have a listen. I'll do some editing. And I started editing it, and I was like, I am dying of boredom listening back to it myself. So I was like, mate, these are shit. We need to like really rethink what we're doing here.
Okay.
And that was when we came up with the idea of like structuring it in 3 sections by having the like album, band, and then topic. At first, we were just doing topic. And because, I mean, we've done a couple of single topic ones since we started now. We do the odd special, which is just a topic. And I think they're pretty good now. Because we've gotten more used to doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we first tried to just have one topic, it was like snooze fest.
It just ran on for too long.
Ran on for too long, too many tangents, and not funny either.
Right. Just didn't work.
No.
Well, you've got to test these things out.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, I got my audio interface and a mic I don't even use now. When was it? A few years ago, but I got it to start trying to do voiceover work, to do like audio dramas and stuff like that, because I enjoy doing voices. So I thought that would be fun, but it got really annoying really quick, because the best place at first where you could sort of get any unpaid, just like fun work to do, because that's all you want to do at first, it was always run by kids, and the projects were always shit, and they'd have such huge dreams, and then it'd just fall apart like that. Like one thing goes wrong, and they just drop the project, and you've spent time doing this and doing that.
When you say kids, do you mean like 18-year-olds or like actual children?
I don't know how old they actually were, but I'm just assuming it's either it's people who have not got a capacity to follow it through. They want to do it, and they're really enthusiastic, but then when it comes to the actual figuring out the problems of it, just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'd record bits, and they'd send you scripts, or you're waiting for scripts, and it just never happens. Pretty much the only thing I ever got out of it was awful, but it was quite funny. It was something called Diet Coke Man, and I got the role of, was I Diet? I can't remember who I was, but I was the bad guy. No, I hated Diet Coke Man. Right. My role was just like basically swear obscenely and shout about Diet Coke Man. I'll see if I can find it in a bit, but it's awful. And that's the only thing that ever came of it.
Someone said to me recently that I should get into voiceover work.
It's fun.
How did you find those projects then? I mean, I know they ended up being shit, but how did you even get into the shit ones?
There was a website called...
It wasn't like Fiverr, was it?
I don't even know what Fiverr is.
Fiverr's it's great. Fiverr. You basically, if you've got...
Oh no, it's a little project thing. I told Gisby about it because he's a sick illustrator.
Right. Okay.
And I said to him, "Yeah, you go on and loads of people audition, don't they, for the work?" Yeah. I know what it is now. So
you should get on Fiverr with your drums, mate.
You reckon?
Yeah, totally. You can, because like I think once you've got your skill level up to something that you can basically do anything pretty straight away, which you can on the drums.
Hopefully.
Yeah, of course you can. And but you're doing it, aren't you? Aren't you doing custom drum tracks?
I mean, yeah, but I've not got any work. I don't expect to really get any work
No,
for
but
that. It's
what I'm
an
saying
option.
is you can
Do it
monetize
through
it on
Right,
Fiverr.
I'm gonna write this down
Because you'll get like, a decent musician who's like, wants to record a tune, but they're not a drummer. And they're like, well,
Yeah.
I can't be asked getting someone in to do it. I'll just go on Fiverr. And they just want someone who can put it out quickly. I do it whenever I need just like a logo designing really quickly or
Right.
something like that. I'll just go on Fiverr and someone will do it. And the prices start at a Fiverr, but you can charge up to like, hundreds or maybe even thousands.
Right. Okay.
So
Worth a look then.
it's worth. Yeah, I think anyone who's
Why
got a
not?
skill that they can do.
If you, I don't think you. Do.
I do actually
Well,
like
you're more than
like
welcome
yeah.
to. I can cut it out.
I might do in a bit. Yeah, I think anyone who's got any kind of skill that they've got to a level where they can do it, pretty much effortlessly, just get on Fiverr. You might as well.
Okay. Good to know. Cheers.
No worries.
Yeah. I'll get on that. I can't remember what we were talking about, but I listened to yours this morning, and I like the intro. I like you saying the intro. Mike should stop wasting time and stop whinging. I don't think I've ever met Mike, but I liked it. I thought it was good.
That's really funny you should say that, because we recorded a new one yesterday, and before we started recording it, I was like, look, Mike, do you actually hate this intro? And he's like, no, I'm just being a dick.
Right.
So
Okay.
we started recording. I did the intro, and he goes like, Fa, that was a great intro.
What's he called?
Mike Gruber.
No, I don't think I've met him.
No, he's we met at uni.
Right.
So
Okay.
he's not. I think he's been to Mac
Oh,
once.
getting into history already.
Yeah.
Uni. Let's do a little bit of history, actually.
Okay.
So I know you because we went to school with each other, and you were the lead guy at the time. I would say you were the face of music for me at that era, because I come from being a bit of a bell end, and you're.
I definitely come from being a bell end as well.
But you were the guitarist.
I heard you say this on the first episode, and it's really nice of you to say.
That's how I perceived it.
Yeah,
I perceived it as this guy, because I came into the band, Dalbray, with you, after you had already had a drummer, Phil Marshall, who, again, coming in, he was like, he's the drummer.
He was the drummer in school, definitely. Yeah,
But he was the only drummer in school, pretty much, wasn't he?
pretty much, yeah.
So it wasn't like he's the best. He was also the only.
Yeah.
Yeah, rarity. So he leaves. So then I've got shoes to fill because I'm filling the drummer's shoes.
Yeah.
But it's with you as well, who's the guitarist. Like, this guy can play Metallica and, like, actually play the solos.
Yeah, I think it's a funny one, because there was definitely a period, I think, especially kind of within our crew, where I started playing guitar, and I progressed sort of really to quite a large amount in a short space of time. So yeah, there was this period when we first started in Dalbray where I guess, quote, I was the guitarist kind of thing. But then there's when you look at other guitarists from our school, you were talking about Eddie and Asda, it's like those guys shit all over me. They're
What, now?
amazing. Yeah,
Because I haven't seen you play in years now, so...
I'm like, I hate myself as a guitarist. I think I'm absolutely appalling. I think my skill level is kind of to the point where I think someone who isn't a guitarist would look at me, could look at me and go, "Wow, he's a great guitarist." And I can do certain things really well, but when you compare me to someone who's who went through that phase of 8 hours a day practicing for 2 or 3 years, I'm nowhere near to that kind of level.
You went to Mancat, didn't you?
I did,
when it
yeah.
was a thing.
Yeah,
That was Manchester College of Arts and Technology.
yeah.
Do you remember
Andy Reese.
Reese? That was his
Yeah.
name. I could never remember his surname.
Yeah.
Andy Reese.
He's ridiculous.
He was something special.
Yeah, he was amazing. And then do you remember Mario? He was
Do
in
you
our,
remember
He
Mario?
was in our year, but I think we were in separate
We were in
forms
the
or
other
whatever,
halves,
separate
yeah.
groups or whatever. He's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah?
Yeah, unreal. And that was I think that because I got a bit of an ego on myself in school because I was pretty good for my age, and I was better than or at least I perceived myself as being better than the other people around me.
Yeah.
And then when I went to college, and I remember seeing Mario play, and I was like, fuck me.
No, you're no longer the big fish.
Yeah, it's like, I suck utter ass.
And then you saw Andy as well, just like.
Well, the thing is, I knew
Jesus.
about Andy. I was prepared for Andy because you told me about him.
Okay.
But I hadn't seen Mario. So, yeah, that was like a big kind of kicker. And I was like, right, I'm going to start putting in like 4 hours a day and get amazing. And I never did.
And then life hits you.
Yeah. Well, no, the thing is, I just got more into songwriting than kind of technical playing.
Okay.
So that was from sort of like late teens onwards. I was always like, I just need my guitar skills to kind of be good enough to get my ideas out, which they are.
It's a good point. It's a very good point. Like, my guitar writing skills are not that. I can come up with something every now and then that's like, that's what I wanted. But most of the time, I don't have the knowledge over the neck to know where I want to go, if you know what I mean. I can do power chords and move them around, but I don't know where to go because I've not played enough. I'm not familiar enough with it. But skill-wise, like you're saying, you don't need to be the best guy in the world if that's not what you're hearing in your head.
Yeah. I do wish I was sometimes. There's times when I'm like, God, especially, like Eddie Van Halen dying the other day.
This is another thing I was going to
like,
ask you.
Oh, God, I wish I'd put the hours in when I had the time to get to like that kind of level of playing.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Eddie?
Oh, devastated, because he's like one of my all-time heroes.
Is he?
Yeah, like him and James Hetfield are like my two favorite guitarists ever.
Right.
Like Hetfield with like the rhythm playing, and I guess it's kind of all-rounder with Eddie, because he is an amazing rhythm player. He's not just a shredder. But yeah, gutted. It was really shocked me when I read it the other day when it first happened.
Hannah told me about it. She just said it out the blue. We were just sat on the couch and she's just like, oh, Eddie Van Halen's dead. Like, what?
Yeah.
You can't just drop it just like
I know.
that. Like it's nothing. Yeah, it was I never listened to them a lot, really. But I know he was amazing.
I got. You should listen to him actually, because I wonder what you think of the drumming in Van Halen, because it's his brother Alex that did the drumming, and I'm like, again, like with drumming, I guess I'm similar to the way you've just described yourself as like a guitarist.
Okay.
In terms of like I can throw together one or two beats, and I can kind of I can just sort of give a groove idea to a drummer.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like, right, I need you to do what you do best.
Okay,
you know what I mean? So I always, when I listen to a track, I always try and analyze everything. And I've been told that Alex Van Halen is like one of the tightest drummers ever.
Really?
Yeah. So it'd be, and it sounds super tight to me, but I've heard drummers say it as well, like really good drummers. So it'd be curious to see what you think.
Any
of Van Halen
particular
drumming.
album or songs that you would say, not for the drumming, but you would say like that's the best stuff to listen to?
Yeah, I think just start with Best of Volume 1.
Okay.
And then if you want, just go for a deep dive after that.
Write that down.
I mean, I'm sure do you know like Jump?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously you know Jump.
I mean, my music history isn't great, and I'm not good at knowing artists for songs. I'm terrible at that, but I know that one.
That's one of their biggest tracks. It's one of Eddie's best guitar solos. But I think I'm probably just being an elitist. I'm like, well, that's the one that everyone knows, so it's my least favourite song.
Right. Contrarian.
Yeah. There you go, contrarian. But yeah, start off with Best of Volume 1. And
go from there.
Yeah.
Fall in love from there.
Yeah.
Buzzing. So we were talking about Dolbray.
Yeah. So with Dolbray was like, in terms of how we started it.
Why was it Dolbray?
Why was it Dolbray? I knew you were going to ask this.
I was always told it was dolphin breast.
Yeah.
But why is it dolphin breast?
Because my sister-in-law had a tattoo of a dolphin on her breast. And when she and my brother, who were like, they were in like their early 20s at the time.
Okay.
And we were like 14. They were trying to help us come up with a band name. and we just started joking about I think she just made a joke like, oh, what about dolphin boob or something like that, and we're like, oh yeah, that's funny, blah 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 blah, and then we left it, and then she came in a minute later. She came into the room a minute later. She was like, I've mixed it together and I've come up with Dolbray, and I think because it was like 2 syllables and it sort of sounded like Green Day, I was like, yeah, that works in my head. And we were, at the time, like Joe and I were trying to figure out what sound we were going for. We were like, okay, do we want to sound like Green Day or do we want to sound like Metallica?
Yeah.
Those were the only options as far as we were concerned. And
it was both.
it kind of did end up being both or neither, depending which way, but positive or negative you want to be. But we were kind of leaning, I think, towards sort of Green Day at the time. So when I phoned Joe up and I put it to him, and he was like, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And then we were like, yeah, that works.
I suppose there was the bit of like, it's a bit of an in-joke as well. People don't know about it. And it's still dolphin breast, but people don't know.
Yeah. Actually, Dolphin Breast would be a pretty funny band name.
Gotta say, it's not great though. Dolbray. It's not a great band name.
What, Dolbray?
Dolbray.
No, I would never do it now.
No, wasn't good.
But we were kids. But at least, and also it was unique because it wasn't an actual word.
True.
So
yeah.
And people would always ask what it meant.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So
but then for me, I'd say, oh, it means dolphin breast. And they'd be like, well, why does it mean that? And I didn't know. So I'd just be like, I don't know. That's just what they came up with.
I don't know. They won't tell me.
So your practice room at your house.
Oh, yeah, it's great, wasn't it?
That's like the first proper practice room. Because we had school ones. Mm-hmm. But it's not the same. You're in a classroom. It's a classroom, not a practice room. But your cellar, I can't remember it very well, but I imagine it as it's where the first practice room is where all drummers are introduced to the concept of becoming smaller as a human being, because you have to be shoved into the tiniest little corner, and you have to be able to climb over a drum kit whilst not falling through it or knocking it over, and get into the tiniest little space, and you have this kit in the corner. What was it like down there? It
wasn't like that. It was massive, that cellar.
Was it?
Yeah. And it was... Well, I can't remember.
I'm sure I had to climb to get into the drum kit.
I think we just made you do that just for fun. I think we were just being mean. No, hang on. I'm trying to remember. Hang on. So we would have been 14. I'm trying to remember, basically, because that cellar, all of us, me and my brothers, at one point had that as a bedroom.
Really?
Yeah. So there was definitely a period. I think when you first came, there might have been a period where it was my bedroom and a band room.
Right.
In which case it could have been a bit more cramped. But I definitely got it to a point where I managed to my brothers started moving out, so I could have one of the other rooms as a bedroom.
Okay.
And I was like, Mum, just let me have this cellar. Just let me turn it into a band room.
Well, if they're moving out, it's not going to be anything else, is it?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there was basically a point where it was like TV in one corner, chest of drawers against the wall, bed as far to the wall as it possibly could go, and then everything else was just band room. Yeah. It was mint, but it's funny just thinking. I was thinking about it on the way over, just like we had absolutely no concept of volume. And we were just like, surely, like, you're just loud. That's what you're supposed to be when
you're a rock band.
Yeah.
Turn it up.
And I remember, like, we had a relatively old neighbour who was actually really understanding with it all. And Mum went and had a word, like, look, he's doing this band, and she was like, they do actually have gigs and stuff. But I remember Mum being like, could you do it with your amps off? And I was just like, are you fucking whining me? Like, yeah, all right. We'll just have Craig just absolutely drowning everything out.
Yeah. Well, this was before I learned rim shots, though, because this is really early in my drumming world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably been going 3-4 months, maybe 5 or 6.
I guess so, yeah.
Something like that. And what was I going to say?
Rim shots.
Rim shots, yeah. Rim shots, disgusting. It was before I learnt about that, so I couldn't have been that loud, but still.
No, but I think we were cranking our amps up and stuff like that. And
did we have a PA downstairs?
Yeah,
did?
yeah. It was we had a pretty good setup for a bunch of kids. Joe managed to get PA speakers somehow. I think he's.
Did he get them from Al from Trackside? Because he knew Al.
It was. I believe. Check with Joe on this one.
Okay.
But I believe it was his like an old dance hall that his granddad went to as a kid, or when he was younger. I think they just had these speakers knocking around, and his granddad might have known the owner and just took them off his hands and gave them to Joe.
That's all right.
And then my dad always had just random bits of musical kit coming in and out. He would if he saw something and it was not that expensive, he'd just buy it in case he needed it.
Right.
So he just had loads of PA heads.
What did he do?
He was a bassist, my dad.
Right.
Never. I mean, he was a builder by trade, but he loved music, and he started playing bass when he was in his 40s. But he got really into it, and because he was a flipping boomer. Who was also a builder. He always had money to just buy stuff. He would always just buy musical kit, even if he didn't know what it was. He'd just buy it just to have it.
Might need it.
Yeah, exactly. There was one time when he had about 4 mixing desks and he didn't know how to use any of them. But I'd be like, great, I'm having that. So I think so Joe got the speakers, and I just swiped a PA head from my dad that we had, and then we.
Where did the drum kit come from?
My dad.
Again.
Yeah, just an old drum kit he bought, and I just swiped it.
Wasn't it a Pearl?
No, it wasn't Eck. It was
what was it?
No,
the Schools was a Pearl.
It was what?
Was it a CB? No,
might have been yes, it was a CB.
Well, mine was a CB.
I'm sure it was a CB.
Right. Okay.
It was either a CB or a Session Pro. But I had a guitar that was a Session Pro at one point. So I'm pretty sure it was a CB.
Okay.
There's paper cymbals. I remember the first time and this is again when I was getting obsessed with Van Halen, we learnt Beat It, and I was doing my own fumbled version of the Beat It solo. And this is when Phil was still on drums.
Right.
And we were playing it, and those awful hi-hats. I was like, what are these? And then I managed...
They looked like a crimped pie
the way
around
they were the worst
edge.
things in the world, weren't they?
They were so
And then
brittle.
just before we were doing our first gig with Beat It in the set, we managed to get some better cymbals that weren't even good, but they were
cymbals.
They were cymbals, yeah. So that was the kit that we had. I got that off my dad. And then I had... I had a Dan Electro amp that my dad had bought me for my birthday, and then I managed to get this big Marshall valve combo for 60 quid or something like that. And that was one of the first things I bought myself with my own money. And it was great. And I had that, and I had the Marshall Governor distortion pedal.
Right.
And that was basically my sound.
What did you have? Guitar?
So I think I started with Dan Electro. I didn't start with Dan Electro, but when I was first really getting into guitar, my dad got me a Dan Electro guitar for my birthday, for my 14th birthday. And that was just around the time that I was just becoming obsessed.
Okay.
So I got this mint Dan Electro guitar, which has been at my mum's for years. I actually got it back the other day.
Nice.
It needs fixing up, but it's mint. I'm going to get it fixed up. And then I got a Strat because I was getting into Van Halen. I wanted a whammy bar. So
wait, I think you were the first person I knew who got locking machine heads or something like that. Was that you?
Dan Thompson actually had a guitar with locking machine heads.
Right.
But I know he wasn't really playing that much, was he?
Did you get one?
Yeah.
Right.
So I got the Strat, and I sold that Strat, and I really regret it because it was mint and it was a bargain. Yeah. But I sold it when I was about 18 or 19 because I wanted to get a custom-made guitar. So I sold it to go towards that. And yeah, I just really regret it. I just wish I'd saved instead because I'd love to just have a Strat in the house.
Well,
now.
you'd have both.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, exactly.
Have you still got the custom made?
Oh,
one?
yeah. So then I got the Strat, and then I started like getting into the whammy bar and stuff. But then, you know, I was getting more and more metal, and I was like, the Strat ain't metal enough. So I got an Ibanez, which had
the locking machine,
machine heads, and then it had the licensed Floyd Rose whammy bar on it, but I replaced it with a proper Floyd Rose. And that was like the fucking best day of my life when I did that.
The difference?
Just in terms of, so Floyd Rose, the man Floyd Rose designed the tremolo.
Good name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very good name. And then what happened was, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but basically they licensed the patent so other companies could make their own, but they couldn't call it a Floyd Rose. They had to call it a Floyd Rose licensed.
Right.
And
okay.
they just weren't as good. They were never made as good parts or anything like that. And they would go out
made
and
to
more.
imitate, not the same development into it.
Exactly. So I bought just a Floyd Rose bridge on its own for like, I think it was about £100 or something. And Warwick fitted it for us. And it was great. And then I got one, when I got my custom, I got a proper one on there as well. I can't remember what your original question was.
Doesn't matter, really. It's all good stuff. Well, we were just talking about Dolbra. Oh, what your guitar was.
Oh, yeah. So that was my evolution of guitars. Yeah, so it was Dan Electro, then a Strat, then an Ibanez, then a custom. The Ibanez wasn't custom, no. The Ibanez
but it had the locking machine heads.
But it had the locking machine heads. Yeah, most of them do.
Oh.
There's a popular range of Ibanezes that just come with the Floyd Rose.
Right, okay.
But then I got my custom, which Warwick made, which has Fa set in the neck in Mother of
Does
Pearl.
it?
Yeah.
Nice. Where in the neck?
Just like around the 12th fret.
Okay.
Sort of from fret 10 to 14 or something spreads across.
Nice.
And that's like, you know, the kind of Joe Satriani, curvy kind of, I guess you'd call it a super Strat shape. You know, it's like
the shape of the body of the guitar.
Yeah, so it's like a small Strat body, but it's more sort of curved and
more flamboyant.
Yeah. But it's jet black, apart from the bridge and the fire in the neck.
Which is what colour?
The fire is Mother of Pearl,
right,
and the bridge is chrome.
Nice.
So she's called the Stealth.
The Stealth.
But my main guitar now, the one I brought with me today, is a Tokai.
I don't think I've heard of that.
So, in like the 70s...
Let's have a look at it. Get it out.
Shall I get it out now?
Get your member out. I like your bass as well. It's very attractive.
Oh, yeah. I nicked that off my desk.
Really? What's that?
It's just a Shine.
I've never heard of that either.
I need to remember. It's the bass Shine's just like a budget brand, I think.
Right,
it's just one of the many basses my dad had, so I was just like, yoink.
I like the colour.
Yeah, it's cool. Does the job.
It looks heavy. Looks quite thick.
I think it's okay. This is heavy. This guitar is heavy.
Looks like a Les Paul. Les Pauls are insanely heavy.
Yeah, it's basically as heavy as a Les Paul. So it's in like the 70s, there was a load of... there was a Japanese company that set up. I don't know what like the parent company was, but it set up loads of different guitar companies underneath it. So there was Tokai, there was Orville, there was another couple. And what they did is they just stole the designs of the Strat and of the Gibson Les Paul and made their own copies, but they were the bollocks.
Right.
They were absolutely amazing. And then they got shut down because Fender and Gibson sued them.
Yeah.
So they're really hard to get hold of now. And they're expensive because they are really good. But my uncle, who also plays guitar, who lives in the States now, he again got back into guitar like in his 40s. And because, again, he was a boomer and a builder, he just always had money to spend on guitars. And he got this amazing collection of just different types of guitars that were just all awesome. And when he moved to the States, he left a load of them with my mum because he couldn't take them straight away. So I was just like, okay, yoink. And then I was like, I took that one. I had his permission. I texted him. I was like, do you mind if I just borrow one? He's like, no. And then I just fell in love with it. I was like, right, I'm going to have to buy this off you. How much do you want? And he was like, give me $700 for it, which is great because they're about $1,400.
Right.
And then I was like, yeah, cool, I'll get saving. A few years go by, he's been in America this whole time. And then he's like, right, I'm coming to visit the UK. I want my money or my guitar. And I was like, and I was skint at the time, and I was living with Mike. And Mike was like, how much can you get together? And I was like $350. And he went, right, I'll lend you the other $350.
Nice.
And
that's a good friend.
Yes, a really good friend. Really, really good friend. So, yeah, and she's the only guitar I really use now in terms of electric.
What's she called?
Rebe.
Rebe.
Yeah.
She's got a beautiful body.
Yeah, it's good, isn't she?
She really is.
And then my acoustic is a Faith Venus, I think, which is called Juliet.
Juliet.
Yeah.
It's a good name for an acoustic.
Yeah. Well, I
bet
like,
she's not as pretty as she is, though.
She is beautiful, Juliet. She is beautiful. And when I got her, I was like, because that was one thing, I'd never bought a good acoustic. Again, I'd always just acquired them from my dad and things like that, and they were never great. But then about 6 or 7 years ago, I got really into fingerstyle playing, and decided to start doing it at like weddings and stuff like that. And I was like, right, I need a good guitar. Gonna have to invest in something. And I gave myself a budget of like 500 quid. Went shopping with, do you know Tom Hastings?
I don't think I do.
He's from around Mac, and he's a musician. He was like, he was doing stuff like the same time as us, but he went to Fally, and it was a slightly different crew.
Okay.
But he and I are really good mates, so he came with me to shop. And I was trying these different guitars. And I have this thing where, like, if I like a guitar, I know pretty much on the first strum. I don't have to play it to get the feel of it. You know what I mean? I know kind of straight away. So I was trying a few different ones that were in my price range. And I was like, oh, it's all right. And then I saw this Faith, and it just looked really nice. But it didn't have a price tag on it. I was purposefully avoiding the expensive price tags.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to fall in love with them. Because there was no price tag, I picked it up and I took one strum. I was like, oh, yeah, this is it. And
what do you know what you played? What chord or what note? Or
it would have just been a C or a G or something like that. It wouldn't have been anything technical. But then I did, try some actual playing on it. And I was like, yeah, this is it. Went and found Tom, who was just wandering around looking at the basses. And I was like, I found it. And I was like, I've just fallen in love with this guitar. And he was like, is she your Juliet? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, she is. She's Juliet. And I went up to the till. I was like, how much is it? And they were like $730. And I was like, oh. Because I was skint at the time, so I was getting it on finance. Ooh. And then thankfully I was with the right person. Tom just like, he just made me do it. If I'd been with someone more sensible, I might have, because at first I was like, all right, show me what you've got that's similar, that's cheaper. And I was trying these other ones. I was like, they're all shit. I'm going to have to buy this one now.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's and I've not, I did buy a new guitar on a whim last year, just because it looked cool. It was just an ESP. And I actually finally had a bit of money to splurge.
Right.
And I got it, but I had to buy it online. And it got delivered. And I gave it kind of one strum. I was like, nah, this is shit. And just sent it. Yeah. And I tried to get the feel for it. And then I was sort of trying to convince myself that I liked it. And then I was like, no, because I know what I like. So I just sent it back.
Interesting. Didn't know there was that much sort of diversity in guitars, how people approach them. I mean, I know there's different bodies and they can feel different because I've played a few, but I'm not a guitarist, so it doesn't make that much difference to me, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I know some people who are great players, but are less fussy. You know what I mean? They're just like, yeah, just give me a guitar and I'll make it sound good. It's probably because I'm not a very good player.
You like what you like.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I know what sound I like and I know what feel I like. I guess I go for feel first. If it feels right, I'm like, yeah, great, I can work with this. But again, like I guess I'm probably pretty impatient. I do need things to be good straight away, because I was toying with like buying an amp simulator the other day, just a piece of software, because they were selling it for like 90 quid instead of 200 quid.
Right.
And it was an SLT Tones one, or STL, I can't remember which way it is. And I was like, right, well, I'll get the free trial, because you get a 10-day free trial, and if it's good, mint, I'll cough up the 90 quid for it.
Yeah.
Because I did need an upgrade on amp sims. And I was messing around with loads of stuff, and I was just like, these aren't that good. And I was trying to decide, I was like, maybe I could buy it and I could, just really hone my tone in it. And then I was like, no, actually.
Why bother?
If I'm going to spend that money, I've already got a good enough one that I don't need to spend money on.
Yeah.
So I'm not buying it.
Yeah. I need to get some. The only third-party plugins I've got so far there was a free drum one with Stephen Slate drums.
Yeah, it's great.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
So good.
Just like pre-mixed, isn't it? You don't need to fuck around.
I do a little bit with it, not a lot though, but so that's what I use.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I've got. But I need some decent guitar ones. So what do you recommend?
So, actually, so I've used for years an old Line 6 one, because when I first started like building my sort of studio setup about 10 years ago, I got a Line 6 interface, and it came with these software amps.
Right.
And I've used it for years, it's only recently I've decided to stop using it because I was like, I should try something upgraded. And what I actually did was got a free one from Emissary, and it's you know what? I'll have to look. I'll text you what it is. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But basically, you can get the amp head plugin for free, and you can get a separate cab plugin for free. And right now, I'm just using that for my sort of main rhythm tone, and it's great.
Okay, well, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll try and remember.
And also, I tell you what, one to try out that I've not tried yet is the Amp Hub, which is another subscription. Amp Hub, yeah, which is another subscription service. It's £10 a month from STL Tones.
Okay.
So yeah, give that a go if you don't mind paying a subscription service. That might be the way to go, actually.
Well, I might mind for just a guitar thing because I don't use.
Yeah, fair enough.
I use the software quite a bit.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
we'll see. Buzzing. Is there anything you want to talk about?
Well, actually, what have you been up to, like music wise? Because I know obviously you did Shuffle.
Yeah.
For a good while, didn't you?
Oh, a long time. From the days of the George up until a few years ago, really.
Right. Yeah. And then I know you and
they're still going.
Is Shuffle still going?
Yeah.
Are you doing it?
I don't really know.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
what's it? Where's it up to then?
Well, we've done many different combinations over the years because we've had we did a tour that Dave organised. But then he got a sick sound engineer job. I can't remember what it was, but it was something that he couldn't pass up.
Yeah.
So then we did the tour as a 3-piece that Dave organised while he went off and did something else, which I thought was hilarious. It's great. Like,
that's proper punk.
He's in the band, organises the tour, and then goes, "Oh shit, I've got to go do this."
Yeah.
He does that, and we go off and do the tour. So we've done it like that. They've done it as a 3-piece without me. We've done it as a 4-piece. We've done it as a 4-piece.
Who drums without you? Is that Dave?
Yeah. We've done it 4-piece with mainly Dave on guitar, Blair on bass. But then when we started, it was the other way around. It was Dave on bass and Blair on guitar. So it's been ace. Been fun.
That's mint. I didn't realise you were still doing stuff.
I mean, we've not played as a 4-piece in quite a while, but I'd be up for it.
Yeah. Well, no one has, to be fair.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. I was wondering if you wanted to have a rant on that as well, because you're good at that.
What, on the pandemic and things like that?
Well, not necessarily the pandemic, but like what you were saying on yours, because I think it's important to say about the industry.
Yeah, I'll totally saying it. So right now it seems... So, well, I guess I'll firstly say by saying, I totally agree that measures need to be put in place to do everything we can to stop the spread of coronavirus. Because there are some people out there who think, no, we should just let things go completely back to normal and fuck the deaths of all these people, which is I'm totally don't agree with. And I'm in favour of masks and everything like that. Finally, people will stop breathing on me in public places. It's fucking brilliant. Why weren't we doing this years ago? And people have to actually give me a bit of social space. I love it.
I do like space.
Yeah. But what's basically happened to the arts industry is that our jobs... So there's other industries. Obviously, there's fucking loads of industries struggling. Loads and loads of industries struggling. But there are some that like have been able to adapt because, you know, they work in an office that have just turned offices to homes and things like that. And then there are others like the hospitality industry, which has been massively shafted, but they've at least had a bit of support with the Eat Out to help out thing. And also they've been allowed to at least try and restart.
Yeah.
Whereas the live music industry has been illegal since March and is probably going to be illegal until spring next year at best. I don't even think we're going to have many gigs next year. There's some festivals and stuff like trying to organise for next year, and I think they should. That's the right thing to do, to at least try and have something on. But I wouldn't be surprised if everything got cancelled till 2022. And we had this brief period where the government, in addition to the furlough scheme, because obviously most musicians, especially ones that gig, ones that do functions or do tours, and by musicians I'm referring obviously to crew as well, to lighting guys, to sound engineers, to everyone.
Drivers, managers,
yeah, of course,
everyone.
Absolutely everyone. They're all
bar staff, you know, at venues. Like, it's everyone, isn't it?
It is everyone, but there is a difference there because they're the hospitality industry, and they are, like I said, they are getting shafted.
That's true.
But bar staff will, they will have been put. Will have done the furlough scheme because they were employed, and it looks like because they're now shutting pubs down again from Monday in the north, that some kind of furlough scheme is coming in again for that. But most musicians and crew are self-employed. So if you're not doing the work, you're not getting paid. Now, obviously, they did put out a self-employed support scheme, which was pretty good, and it's helped me. But it's only helped me because I've been self-employed for years.
Yeah.
So people who've only been self-employed for like a year, it hasn't helped them.
Doesn't count.
I've got mates who've not been able to get anything because they weren't employed and they weren't self-employed for long enough. But that's pretty much coming to an end now. But there's been nothing put in place to reopen our industry. And what the government is basically saying is, tough shit, get a new fucking job.
Yeah.
And apart from that being a shit thing to say at the best of times, it's like, there are no jobs.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea on all fronts.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
We're saying, you're going to retrain. Right, have you done? Have you had there's a government thing?
I haven't done it because I am not self-employed.
I just wondered if you might have done it out of curiosity.
But I've seen a few posts from different people in the industry. I think it was Francis Hunt.
Yeah.
And a guy called Pete, who's a drummer from Norwich. Sick drummer. It's unbelievable. They both put posts up showing what the government has advised them to do. So I think Francis was told to train as a tattooist and also train as like a herbalist. Like, there you go.
I saw him post that. Yeah.
There's your new career. Sorry that you've chosen a career entertaining people for the last 10, 15 years. Go train to do this. It's insane.
I know. I got a football referee and boxer. It's like, fuck me, fire. Like, I'm 34. Like, most boxers are retiring at my age.
Boxer.
And you're telling me to start doing it now. I'm terrified of getting hit. and then the referee one, I really analysed the referee one. I was like, all right. So, firstly,
how long does it take to train to be a referee?
Well, yeah, how long does it take to train to be a referee? That's the first fucking thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I look at is like, to be a referee, you've got to be as fit as a footballer.
Got to be pretty fit.
Because you've got to be, and I'm not in bad shape, but I'm not in footballer shape.
No.
There's no way I could run around following a ball for 90 minutes. In addition to that, you've got to know every single fucking rule of football, which I'm a very passive football fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't hate it, but I don't really follow it.
No, same here.
And then, in addition to that, like, I don't think they realise that, like, every referee that has become a referee has probably... Am I making that peak?
No, it's not peaking. I just a tiny bit loud. It's fine, keep going.
Every referee that has become a referee, they've not just, like, gone to the job centre and have applied for it.
No.
They've been a part of the football community
for years.
For years, their whole life.
They probably started doing it at like Sunday League for the mates or something like that, and then as like experience.
Or they might have even
as
been
they're
like
training
former
to do
players.
it. Yeah, possibly.
And then like there's that side of thing. Also,
The point is that
I find it interesting.
It's an obscene idea to suggest that you, a musician, self-employed, doing it for how many years? Your
I've been
entire
employed for
life.
Yeah. I've been making a living off it for 10 years.
Right, and your
And
entire
I've been
working
training,
life,
been
really.
training for 20 years.
Yeah, so it's your life.
Yeah.
Forget that. Go be a referee.
Go be a referee. I
Or
love
a
the way
boxer.
I love the way it's specifically football as well.
Yeah.
It's like, can I be netball? No, all those jobs are taken, but they're crying out for unqualified football referees. It's like, if a new football referee job comes up, a fucking referee is getting that job.
More than likely.
They're not giving it to a guitarist.
No.
Brilliant. Flip it. But what I like about it, though, I will say, is whenever I've had like sort of dark days about my own progress as a musician, you know, like we all do, and I've been like, you know, should I keep going with this? Should I find a new career? Any other career I can think of is equally ridiculous. You know what I mean? That I would want to do it. It's like be a filmmaker, or write a book, or something like that. They're not like, they're all pretty silly ideas. Yeah. So I'm always like, well, they're just as dumb, so I might as well keep up with the music. But it looks from the sound of things, that from the looks of things, that the government fully support my decisions to go for ridiculous careers, because becoming a boxer or a referee at 34 is just as insane as becoming a rock star.
It's pretty crazy.
You know what I mean? So great, they at least know my mentality.
Yeah. So it's a sad state. Right?
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's really fucked. And all they need to do, because I do agree that we need these lockdown measures. All they need to do is just give people who can't work for legal reasons. Remember, it's illegal to do these jobs. Just give them money.
Yeah.
Like, it's as simple as that.
You're not allowed by law to work. They're the ones that have told you that.
Yeah.
How is that fair if they're not going to give you any money?
Exactly. And I think the thing is, the thing that's really pissed the entire arts community off with it is those words talking about saying that we're basically unviable. And it's like, no, whoa. This isn't like an industry that is outdated. It's not like we've been replaced by technology.
No.
Or it's not like our customers have moved on to something else.
No.
It's a completely viable industry that generates billions for the economy. You've just decided it's illegal.
Yeah. Because of the current pandemic,
which
no one can help, but making it illegal and then taking the money away from the people who have been a part of that business their entire lives just isn't fair.
No, it's bullshit. And, you know, like Mike said on our podcast when we talked about it, like universal basic income probably is coming at some point, because there's more and more things being automated. And, you know, if you think that artists should just go and get a new job or go and train for a new job, well, you're probably, and by you I mean just the general public, like you're getting replaced at some point.
Yeah, at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
So come and join us on the arts. Because you can have nothing else to do.
But yeah, I mean, thankfully, I'm actually one of the lucky ones.
Because you've been doing it long enough that you've got the history, so you could get some help.
Because I can get some help, but also I've got my teaching business as well.
True.
So, you know, and I'm in a relatively safe position with that compared to a lot of other
You do it in
musicians.
schools, don't you? So...
I do it in schools, yeah, and I actually I run part of the company.
Nice.
So I'm able to I'm able to go and do that. I'm more privileged than a lot of the tutors that work for us. Yeah, because they don't run it. They, you know what I mean?
They just work.
They do the work.
Yeah.
But right, you know, we've been totally shafted with that, because there's like half our schools are like, sorry, we can't let you back in yet. So the turnover of our company is just completely
plummeted.
Dropped. Yeah.
So it's, and they were closed for years as well. So I'm guessing you weren't doing lessons over Skype, or were you?
Our managing director came up with the only idea that could have worked, and it really did just save us from dying. where we did because we work in primary school, so the Skype thing wasn't really an option, but we did pre-recorded 10-minute video lessons that you could get as a subscription.
That's a good idea.
We sent it out to just all our parents that were already signed up in school, and enough of them signed up to it.
That's a good idea.
We were able to keep our heads above water.
Cool. Good idea, that
And now,
guy.
yeah, it was a good idea. When Dave came up with it, I was like, yeah.
Good on you, Dave.
That's all we can do. And then when schools reopened, like I said, thankfully, I'm in a relatively safe position that I've got enough of my schools back that I was running. I wasn't even teaching in them at first.
Yeah.
But I was just running them. But now I'm running them and I'm teaching in them while we basically rebuild the whole company.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah.
At least you're still going.
Yeah. Just cracking on.
Yeah. Should we record?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
What are we going to record?
Fuck knows.
You got no idea at all?
No.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to try and remember things. Do you want to shout out some things before we stop recording? Your school, your podcast, anything like that?
Where people can find me. Okay, so yeah, you can find me on all the socials at Fa Caudwell Music.
All the socials?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just
on Faceache, on Instagram, mainly Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Sorry, not Twitter, YouTube. I'm on them a lot. I've got an Instagram, I've got a Twitter account that I just never use, and I've got a TikTok account that if it doesn't cost me any time, might just put a little
quick video
on it. Yeah, but I'm mainly Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and I do. I've been recently. I've been doing metal parodies.
I've
songs.
seen them.
Yeah.
They're funny.
They're all right, aren't they?
They're good, yeah. It's
them.
good, man.
Just basically parodying everything that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And then my band, Monsters Walk Amonst Us, again, just find us on the same stuff, which we launched at the start of the year. And we put a couple of singles out, and, we were planning on starting gigging this year and starting touring, but obviously we can't. And we're just, because... So my vocalist, Nicole, and I, we live an hour away, and obviously more lockdown measures are coming into place. We've had to put a halt on even just the recording. So we're just kind of trying to just demo everything remotely at the minute, with obviously the plan of getting some more stuff out there. But we do have a few tracks out right now. We've got a track called V, a track called Agents of Chaos, and a track called Break Me. And they're all fucking brilliant. So
where can people get these brilliant songs?
Get them on Spotify. You can get them on all the streaming services. You can download them from wherever you download stuff.
Are they actually the best songs you've ever heard in your life?
100%.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
great songs ever written.
Right.
I mean, people say the Beatles are good. Wait till you hear it. No, in all honesty, it's the best stuff I've done. I'm really pleased with it.
Man.
So yeah, find that, and then I've got a podcast that I do myself called Those Music Guys. I think that's it.
That's it. Cool. Yeah. Right, let's crack on.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's coming, man.
Yeah.
I am telling you, man, y'all won't believe what this hoe said to me. She said she gonna meet some guy and they gonna get funky. Y'all believe that?
Getting funky with my friends, oh yeah, I'm getting funky to the end, and I'm gonna stay so funky every day. I said, yeah, I'm getting motherfucking funky in your face. I just can't stop being so funky. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they call me the funky junkie. I'm getting funky every day. In every way, I'm getting funky in your face. Oh, I'm feeling yeah, feeling so funky. No, feeling so funky. Go with you, yeah.
That was an untitled song written by Fa on the day of recording. If you want to see and hear more from Fa, you can find him everywhere online at Fa Caudwell Music. And you should check out his band. They're called Monsters Walk Amonst Us. And you should also check out his podcast, which is called Those Music Guys. See, like I said at the start, very multi-talented man. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, if you're in a band and you want to come down, a few of you, or if you're just a solo musician and you want to come down and have a jam and have a talk and stuff, you can email me at, no, not at, duh. You can email me versechorusbridgepodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to need to say that again. If you want to be a guest, email me at versechorusbridgepodcast@gmail.com. All right, finally got there. You can also follow the podcast at VCB Podcast everywhere online, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. You can support the podcast if you really want to. Feel free on Patreon, which is again at VCB Podcast, or after this episode, if you want custom drum tracks for your songs, go to Fiverr with 2 R's at the end and search for Crodger. Cheers, Fa. So that's it from me. Fa, I had an absolute blast, man. Let's do it again. A big thanks to him. A big thanks to all of you. Bye.